Hello, my name is Brittany Hellman, and this is my capstone action research project presentation. I chose to do my action research project over having cell phones in the middle school classroom, and if these cell phones could positively affect student achievement, and more specifically, if by utilizing these cell phones and the cell phone calendar and reminder, if the student's on-time assignment completion would improve. Now, the problem here is our current policy here at our school is students are not to have cell phones. Their cell phones are to be in their locker and shut off. There's no accessibility of these cell phones in the classroom. However, as kids do, these students will sneak their cell phones into the classroom, causing a disruption, sometimes causing the student to be removed from the classroom and sent down to the office. Now, the desired place that we'd want to be is to have the cell phone accessibility in the classroom and for students to utilize their cell phones to help keep their assignments organized by entering their assignments into their calendar and setting reminders for those due dates to see if this would improve on-time assignment completion and reduce the number of missing and late assignments that our students had. Now, why would I choose to do this? Cell phones are a hot topic today in education, and most adolescents, starting at the age of 10, now have cell phones. So students have the accessibility to cell phones. They always have their cell phones with them, and then they come to school and we require them to not have their cell phones with them. With cell phones, you have many educational applications that students and teachers could utilize in the education environment. These applications are always up to date. They are ever changing, and the students are very comfortable using their cell phones. Research says that students prefer using cell phones over computers or laptops. They always have the phones with them, and they are very well versed on how to utilize these phones. And in the education environment this year, not just this year, but technology is progressing at a lightning speed, and kids need to learn how to utilize these technological resources and applications on their phones to prepare them for life after school. So the project. So I chose to do my project here at my home school. I chose the participants. We went with the 7th grade class, English Language Arts class. There were 19 students in the research study and one language arts teacher. The language arts teacher volunteered and was excited and was really interested in the data that we would gain from this project. So first things first is I sat down with the teacher and trained her on the expectations of this project, that we needed to set clear expectations for our students, how they were to utilize their cell phones. We needed to teach our students how to use their calendar and how to set reminders in order to get effective data. And we also had to make sure the teacher knew how to do that. So the data, I collected data through first, before the project even began, I gathered the on-time homework and assignment completion rate for each student and the class as a whole. Then throughout the project, I did classroom observations to observe and determine how many times the cell phone actually distracted students. Then we had survey data after the project. The teacher took a survey and so did the 19 students, so we could get the qualitative data, their perceptions. Then once the study was completed, I got the on-time assignment completion rate after the study so we could analyze that. So I had quantitative and qualitative data here. Then I took time to analyze that data and put it into a spreadsheet, create tables and charts, compare the data, and then presented that data and my findings to our administration. The project lasted for 3 weeks, and we had 19 students and 1 teacher participating in it. Now, the research methodology. So first and foremost, I got informed consent, first from my administrator, the teacher, the students, and the students' parents. I observed the students for a 3-week period. I went into their classroom, sat into the classroom, and essentially just watched the students and documented any time the cell phone would disrupt or distract the student. As I said earlier, I got the on-time assignment completion rates before the study and after the study. I did the teacher and student surveys to get the qualitative data, the perceptions and the opinions from the teacher and the students. My quantitative data was my completion rates and my number of distractions. Then I analyzed this data. I took a few days to analyze it and then created my recommendation for our principal and our administrator. So the data collection and the analysis method. So like I said, I did some observations. In my report, you can see the form that I used for the observations. And the assignment completion rates. I used our school's SIS system. We used PowerSchool and our LMS, our learning management system of Canvas, to track the on-time assignment completion rates and if kids were turning in assignments on time, if they were missing assignments. I also collected the qualitative data through the surveys. Did the teacher feel like the cell phones were too much of a distraction? Did the teacher feel like the students preferred using the calendar and their cell phone over a paper agenda? Once I collected all this data, again, I put it in a spreadsheet. I created charts that are found in the Action Research Report, as well as tables in Excel so I could effectively analyze the data. So the results and the conclusion. So after the study and analyzing the data, I saw a positive increase in completion rates. So there was a 12% improvement in on-time assignment completion rates. And so, yes, I was expecting a positive improvement, 12%, a slight improvement. The survey perception. So the teacher did not, in her survey, did not feel that the students were more distracted by their cell phones. She felt like they actually preferred to utilize their cell phone calendars and set reminders versus using a paper agenda. My observations. So I did observe some distractions throughout the class. Now, something interesting is the student who had the most distractions during class was also the students with before and after the study with the most late or missing assignments. So there was a correlation there. The student survey, 73% of the students actually preferred using their cell phone calendar and reminders versus the paper agenda. And on their survey, it was also noted that they always have their cell phone with them. It's available to them. They forget their paper agenda. They forget to take it home. They forget to take it to class, but their cell phones are in their pockets or in their backpacks, and it's always with them. So, for the conclusion and the recommendation to our administrators is the conclusion was, yes, accessibility of cell phones in the classroom can improve student achievement. It did improve on-time assignment completion rate, which therefore could in fact have a positive effect on their student learning and student achievement because the students are doing the work. So my recommendation to them was to allow cell phones into the classroom. However, teachers and students would have to go through extensive and intensive professional development in order to set clear expectations for the teachers and for the students, more so for the students. Students had to have clear, detailed expectations of cell phone usage in the classroom. So my recommendation is to change the school's policy with clear expectations. So limitations that I had for this research project, as probably many people did, it was COVID-19 this year. With COVID-19, we had students in quarantine. We had students with absences. Therefore, with a class of only 19 students for doing this research project, many students weren't there sometimes. So that's a limitation. I wasn't able to observe every single student every single day. Also, I was only able to have one class of 7th graders participate into this study. because of COVID-19, we are on a shortened school day. And along with my own job responsibilities, sometimes it would have been difficult to observe and research more than one class. Another limitation to this is my current position here at school. I'm the dean of students. So when students see me walk into a classroom, they are on their best behavior. So that could have changed their classroom behavior with the cell phones and the cell phone distractions. So what are some implications of this action research study? Now our administrators have a decision to make. Based on this study, it shows that students having accessibility of cell phones in the classroom could be a positive thing. So the administrators now have a decision to make, and they have, if they are going to change the policy, they've got to reform the policy and come up with a very detailed cell phone policy for our teachers, our students, and our parents. One implication is teacher buy-in. If we do not get teacher buy-in, then this policy change could be a disaster. If teachers don't buy into it and support it and have clear expectations, it could be likely that the policy change could fail because they would not pass those clear expectations on to the students. So the application of knowledge. So now that I have this knowledge, what could I do with it? How could I further it? Well, future policy changes, especially with cell phones. We could allow cell phones in the classroom. But the great thing is it'd be interesting to research now that we have these cell phones in the classroom, what can teachers do with them? They've got to adapt to the technology. Technology is ever changing. Kids always have their cell phones. Let's use a resource and a tool that they always have with them and that they're very comfortable using to enhance their educational experience. So I would like to research more of what educational apps can teachers use in the classroom to increase student engagement. That would be something where I would like to apply my knowledge and research a little further, is how using educational applications on the cell phone can increase student engagement and therefore hopefully increasing student achievement. And like I said, technology is always changing and students are changing with the technology. The educational platform is changing because of technology, and especially with COVID-19, now we have to rely a lot more on technology to provide our instruction. And if we can utilize educational apps on the cell phone to enhance our instruction and improve our instruction, I think that's something that we need to take a look at and research a little further. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and thank you. Have a good night.